Greetings and welcome to the Pampering Myself podcast. I'm your host, Pam Jones, aka Jonesy. Our mission is to empower women in every facet of life, physically, mentally, and spiritually. Join us as we explore self-care, personal growth, and holistic wellness, inspiring you to embrace your journey and nurture your inner strength. So grab your favorite snack or beverage, snuggle up in your favorite chair, and relax, because every woman deserves a little pampering. Welcome to our first timers and to our returning listeners. Today we're going to embark on a delightful journey, both simple and yet profound, where we explore being present in the now, especially in our busy lives. So what does it mean to be present? Well, picture this. You just finished doing a little shopping, and hopefully you found something nice for yourself. And you decided to top off the afternoon by stopping by your favorite coffee shop or restaurant just for a little relaxation. So you're sitting in your favorite spot, sipping on your favorite beverage, or perhaps eating a midday meal. And instead of relaxing and enjoying the moment, your mind is racing. It might be on your to-do list, or that awkward conversation you had last week. Perhaps you're worrying about what to make for dinner. And the list goes on and on and on. Sounds familiar? Instead of enjoying your time and simply relaxing in the moment, you can't. You're so focused on something from the past or the present that you're not living in the moment. And the reality is, those things may be important, but so is your peace and the need for living in the moment. Being present means anchoring ourselves in the here and now, fully experiencing your surroundings, your thoughts, and feelings without the distractions of the past or the future. It's about savoring life, not just going through the motions. Unfortunately, it's become something we have to intentionally practice. And a lot has to do with technology. Now, we've conditioned ourselves to think if we're just hanging out and scrolling on our phones, that's a form of relaxation. No, it's not. The minute you scroll across something you disagree with, and you know I'm right, or something you want to respond to, you intentionally react. And it may not always be in a good way, especially in today's climate. So instead of always picking up that phone, take a look around. Be amazed at your surroundings, the gift of life, the trees, how they change with the seasons, the squirrels chasing each other, the birds chirping, the quietness. The thoughts can take you to a place of gratitude unlike scrolling on your phone. And by default, you become present in the moment. So what's the big deal, you ask? Well, I'm glad you asked that question. First of all, it reduces stress. When we focus on the present and not all the things we have to do, need to do, or want to do, we're less likely to get overwhelmed. And for some, when we become overwhelmed, nothing gets done or done to our standards. I'm a witness. Next, being present in the moment boosts our relationships. When we're truly present with our friends, our family, even our pets, we create a deeper connection. Imagine this, sharing a laugh with your bestie instead of scrolling through your phone. It's a game changer. But let's talk about those phones for a minute. I find it really frustrating when people are glued to their phones and scrolling when the purpose of coming together is to enjoy each other's company. I'm not talking about the quick search for whatever reason. Maybe the conversation dictate that search. I'm talking about the 10, 20, 30 minutes full down the rabbit hole scrolling. Gone. Total isolation. They have checked out to the point that they are no longer present in the room with anybody else. Okay, I digress, but I know you know those people, and you just might be one of them. Another benefit of being present is creativity. Being present opens our minds to new ideas and inspirations. Have you ever had a brilliant idea while taking a shower or soaking in a tub? I have many times. That's your mind being free and present. Most of my great ideas come to me when I'm being in the present. For me, that might look like me chilling in my serenity room, walking to get my steps in, or swinging on the patio. Sometimes I take my iPad outside and I listen to the music, and there's times I just swing and be one with nature. No distractions, just observing the natural. That's where I'm in awe and life's miracles. And you'll be amazed at how relaxing that is, allowing good thoughts and creativity to flow. So how do we practice being present? I've shared some of my ways. Let's explore some fun-hearted ways you can incorporate being present into your daily life. I have 5 I like to share. Number 1 is practice mindful mornings. Start your day with a few minutes of mindfulness. Instead of reaching for your phone first thing, and people do, take a moment to stretch. Breathe, pray, and savor the silence. Maybe even do a little happy dance. Who doesn't love a morning shimmy? Because that can set the tone for the rest of the day. If you wake up positive and have affirmations and just think about how no one can mess up your day, they can. Don't allow it. Number 2, take nature breaks. Get outside. Whether it's a walk in the park or just sitting outdoors, immerse yourself in nature. Listen to the birds, feel the breeze, and let yourself be in awe of the world around you. Despite all the madness that's going on in this world today, we can still find peace. And it is absolutely necessary, mandatory, that we find peace. And this is by far my favorite. Number 3, consider gratitude journaling. At the end of each day, jot down 3 things you're grateful for. This simple act can help shift your focus to the present and what truly matters, even if you've had a rough day, because there will be those days. And I know for myself, when I feel like too much is on me, I have to look for the silver lining in the cloud. And there is one, believe me, because things can be worse than you can possibly imagine. Number 4, limit your distractions. Put away your phone and other distractions when spending time with others or engaging in activities. This will allow you to fully immerse yourself in the experience. Now, I was kind of curious, without asking people, why do they grab their phones when they're in the company of others and seem to isolate themselves? And the research says people often prefer scrolling on their phones while in the company of others for several reasons. And here are 5. A fear of missing out on what's happening. I guess those are people like that. I don't know if that's a valid reason, but I guess to each his own. The second reason is they may have social anxiety, and scrolling creates a buffer that keeps them from feeling awkward. Now that I can believe, because I can imagine that if they're not comfortable in the environment, that might be a mechanism for them to escape. I wonder what they would do without a phone. The third one, it's a way of avoiding small talk that might not be of interest to them, allowing them to retreat into their own world. Now, this one I can relate to. I can remember back in the day being around people who were, let's say, in a clique, and I was not part of that clique. Could not participate in the discussion of what was going on in the clique. So I didn't have a phone at that time, but I would imagine that would have been a great escape for me. Number 4, information overload. The need to keep up with everything and stay informed. Well, that might be for my groups, but I certainly wouldn't do it in the company of others when the whole purpose is to socialize with the here and now. And number 5, acts as a personal space, even in a group, allowing individuals to feel more in control of their environment and interactions. Well, I guess they do have control of that, and they can, and I have seriously seen them totally escape. So, for the 5th reason why you would want to be in the here and now, another way is to be in the present, is to limit multitasking. Now, this was a hard one for me to even admit to. Focus on one task at a time instead of trying to juggle multiple activities. This allows you to give your full attention to what you're doing and enhance the quality of your work. Now, we like to think we can multitask. Most people that I've asked this question, can you multitask? Yes, even some jobs require you to have the ability to multitask, but the research says otherwise. I'll admit I used to think it was possible, but it's not. And here's how I proved it to myself. When I'm watching television, a lot of times I will be on my laptop. And I'm on my laptop trying to do something, to create something, to design something. And even though I have the television on and thinking I can do both, sometimes I zone out from the TV. And sometimes I'll catch something because I've zoned out from the laptop. And I'll ask myself, what happened? Did I miss something? So now I'm rewind to try to go back and see what I missed because something is not making sense in the program. And if I have to do this more than 4 or 5 times, and yes, I say it 4 or 5 times because in an hour-long program, I may have to rewind 4 or 5 times. This is what I end up doing. I pause the television, work on what I'm doing on my laptop, freeze the laptop, go back to the television, or I work on my laptop during the commercials and get back in. So that demonstrated to me, no, something is going to go lacking, if not everything, if I call myself multitasking. Try it. You'll be surprised at the results. Now, let's get real for a second. Life doesn't always go as planned, right? Sometimes we find ourselves lost in a whirlwind of chaos. I mean, who hasn't had a day or a week where everything seems to go wrong? But here's the twist. Even in those chaotic moments, we can find opportunities to practice presence. Maybe your car breaks down and instead of panicking, you take a deep breath and appreciate the unexpected adventure of calling for help. Or perhaps you're stuck in traffic and instead of fuming, you turn up your favorite song on the radio and have a mini karaoke session. Now, I've learned to think of these mishaps as God's way of keeping me from harm. Who knows what's up the road ahead? There's this famous quote that says, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. Meaning when you're faced with a difficult situation, try to find a positive way to deal with it. And of course, this old saying, there's a silver lining in every cloud. Now, speaking of chaos, let me share a story with you. Many years ago, I got laid off my job after about 10 years. Corporate downsizing is what they called it. So I found myself back in the job market. However, there was an internal opening at one of the other connecting facilities that I worked with, and I was well qualified for. But it was on midnights. Now back then, I didn't really understand how an employer who was laying off hundreds of employees, again, downsizing, was hiring at the same time. But I eventually got it. All about the money. Now, I've never worked midnights before, and I never had a desire to do so. But desperate times calls for desperate measures. So, of course, I applied for the job. I just needed to get my foot in the door. And I got the interview, which in those days was half the battle, even if you were qualified. And qualified I was, checking off all the bullet points. So needless to say, I felt pretty good about the opportunity. On the day of my interview, I made a big mistake that would cost me that job. I ate a bowl of chicken and rice soup an hour before the interview. You saying, what? Chicken and rice soup? How did that cost you the job? Here we go. 5 minutes into the interview, it may not even have been 5 minutes. I was on the road saying all the right things. My confidence level was up, but my stomach was doing its own thing. Now, if you ever had a bout of food poisoning, you know exactly what happened. Bam! It hit me with a vengeance. I was trying to suppress it, but that ain't something you have control over. I was in a panic. As I was talking, I felt that stomach bubbling, and before I knew it, I jumped up, I grabbed the trash can, still trying to say something, and I threw up. Yes, I did. Right there in that office in front of the person who was interviewing me. Now, I'm still trying to maintain my dignity while apologizing for what had just happened. I don't know why I thought that was going to be one and done. It kept coming up. Needless to say, after that impromptu performance, the interviewer kindly escorted me and that trash can to the closest restroom and told me they'll be in touch. Yeah, right. So of course it was clear to me that I wasn't going to get that job. But talk about living in the moment. I hung out in that restroom until I thought it was safe enough for me to make it to my car, because I got to get home now. And from there, all I was thinking about was that 10-minute ride home and me throwing up in my car, because you know what that smell like would be in that car forever. Oh yeah, I had to pull over a couple of times, but I didn't get nothing in the car. As promised, they called me. HR had told me with the results that I was expecting that they had selected someone else. I thought about that silver lining in that moment. You see, how working midnights would have changed the dynamics of my home. And eventually, I considered it a blessing instead of something negative. And I had a good laugh. Can you imagine being that person who was sitting there interviewing me? Well, I moved on. So, lovely listeners, as we wrap up today's episode, remember that being present doesn't mean we have to be perfect. It's about embracing the messiness of life with open arms and light heart. I challenge you to take a moment each day this week to practice being present, whether it's during a meal, while walking your dog, or even in the middle of chaos. Pause and breathe. And if you find it impossible, take one day at a time. And please, the next time you're in the company of others, please, please, please put your phone down and give them the attention they deserve. You just might find out something of interest you never knew before. Thank you for tuning in to Being Present in the Now episode. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and share it with your family or friends. Until next time, remember to take a breath, embrace the beauty of being present, and don't sweat the small stuff. And as always, pamper yourself.